In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace the tensioner pulley, idler pulley, and the serpentine belts on this Chevy Silverado. Let's get into it. Remove the cover, just grab underneath and slide up, and then slide it forward. Loosen up this worm clamp right here. Use an 8mm socket. Loosen up this clamp here, same 8mm socket. You can slide this snorkel off here, just like that. Right here, there's a hose. You just want to pull that outwards. It just pops off to the side. And then just grab this whole snorkel. You're going to lift up. There's a little grommet there. And then slide it off the throttle body. There is a little retainer right here that's holding the hose on. You can use a trim tool. Just separate this. And just slide it out. When you're doing this job, it's easier to take this snorkel off, but you don't necessarily have to. You can reach in there. Now I'm going to loosen up the belt with the tensioner right here. I'm using a 15mm wrench, or you can use a serpentine belt toolkit. Turn the tensioner clockwise and slide the belt off. And then you can loosen up on the tensioner. Take your wrench off. Now we're going to take the belt off the alternator, power steering pulley down below, the water pump, and the crank pulley, and just slide it out. I'm going to remove this pulley. Use a 15mm socket. Loosen up the bolt. And slide it out. And take the new pulley, line it up, get the bolt started. Tighten it down. Now I'm going to torque this bolt to 37 foot-pounds. Now I'm going to remove these two bolts for the tensioner pulley. Use a 15mm socket. Loosen those up. And slide that out. Now take the new tensioner, take the bolts, and get those lined up. And get those started down below. And I'm going to torque these bolts to 37 foot-pounds. Now we're going to remove this shield. Use a 15mm socket. Take these 4 bolts out. And lower the shield. Now we're going to take the stretch belt off. The easiest way to do this is just to cut it. There is no tensioner, so I'm just going to use some cutters Just slice it right there. If you want to, you can try to remove it using a 24mm socket and turning the crank while using a pry bar or a screwdriver. Take that off. Now take the stretch belt. We're going to go over the crank pulley, and you want to go behind it, and then over the AC compressor. Just get that lined up there. And if you have a stretch belt tool, you can use that. Get on the back side of here. That goes on the pulley, and then the belt is going to go over that. Get that lined up. Then using a 24mm socket, we're going to turn the crank. You can see how that tool is working. Just make sure that the belt is going on there properly. And there it is. It's all the way around. Just make sure that the belt didn't start popping off the compressor. If it did, you just want to use a pry bar, pry it out as you turn the crank pulley. Slide the shield in place and get the bolt started. And the two down below. And we'll snug these up. Not too tight, just snug. Now we're going to install the belt. We're going to go around the crank pulley. Then the back side of the belt is going to go around the water pump. Come down, go around the power steering pulley, up around the alternator. Just to make it a little easier to install, we're going to come around the tensioner right there. So make sure those are around all those pulleys. It's not twisted at all or anything. That looks good. Now putting a little bit of tension near the idler. Then we'll use our wrench for the tensioner. Take the tension off the tensioner. And then slide this around the idler. Just like that. Almost there. That's good. Let's surround all the pulleys. You can take the wrench off and just double check. Looks good. And slide the snorkel in place. Go over the throttle body. And the little grommet over here, you want to make sure that gets secured right there. And over on the air box, slide that on. Now we can tighten this down. snug it. Same with over here. Push this hose in place. And underneath this retainer, slide that in place. Take the engine cover, slide it on, and push it down.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.